When I don't put on makeup, I just feel invisible. I'm not my best self. My name is Kanika Batra. I'm 25 and I'm an author. I've written 4 books, the latest of which, Honey Trap, was published last year. I'm also a classical operatic singer. I'm an actress and I model. I do beauty pageants. What else?
I love it. You ready to shoot?
I really enjoy getting glammed up. When I was doing Miss Universe in 2019, we had such an incredible time. When I was flying back from Thailand, my flight attendant, when I was flying first class, she was like, "Oh my God, I recognize you from Instagram." It just made me so happy. I do really enjoy the glamorous aspect. Sam's my fiance, and today Sam is going to shoot some photos that I can submit to Miss Earth Australia. During lockdown, he's become my photographer. He became my eyebrow lady, and he helps me put on my makeup. So he's really fantastic. Social media is great for external validation. Women have so many options to get this. They can use Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. They can go on Tinder and get literally 10,000 plus matches. It kind of fuels their self-worth, but it's very fleeting, I find, for narcissists specifically. Ooh.
Yeah, we can use some of these.
Yeah, they're actually Instagram worthy. Hey guys, it's Kanika. Welcome back to my channel. When I get positive comments, it's wonderful and I do feel them, but they are very fleeting. They don't tend to stay with me for a very long time. However, if I do start getting insults, those do really, really hurt more than I could possibly explain. I do have irrational reactions sometimes when I feel the narcissistic supply draining, and it's just, I'm so used to external validation that I don't know how to actually produce internal validation.
Back again for another video. On today's topic, we'll be talking about the narcissism in women. And as you can see as the title in the video you just watched, this is about a influencer, model, / actor, / singer by the name of Kanika Batra. And the title reads, Influencer Reveals What It's Like Living with Narcissistic Personality Disorder and Her Struggles to Produce Internal Validation. Right. Internal validation. That is a big key of this. I'm not going to read the headlines because the headlines just go over the article very briefly because I want you to ingest this fully. But anyways, it says, a beauty queen living with personality disorder has told her condition has left her reliant on others to maintain her self-esteem and unable to produce internal validation. Miss World Australia finalist Kanika Batra, 26, has narcissistic personality disorder, a condition she says gives her impulsive urges, feelings of emptiness, and unstable moods. Does that sound familiar? Ms. Batra says she relies on others, such as her 180,000 followers on Instagram, to boost her sense of self-worth, but goes, quote, into a very, very dark place, unquote, when those external sources of affirmation dry up. That's a picture of her. She looks a little bit differently than what she looks. If you go back and watch the earlier video, she looks a little bit differently body type wise, but face type wise, that's her. But nonetheless, this is Kanika Batra. But anyways, let's continue. Quote, when I have positive comments, it's wonderful and I do feel them, but they don't tend to stay with me. They are very fleeting, unquote, she told SBS Insight. That is actually the video that I showed you in the beginning of this, of the intro. But anyways, quote, however, if I do start getting insults, those really hurt more than I could possibly explain. I have irrational reactions sometimes when I feel the narcissistic supply draining. I'm so used to external validation that I don't know how to produce internal validation, unquote. This is a very common thing that I see amongst a lot of women, that especially during this pandemic. They got their narcissistic fix taken away and they started to lose their mind. They couldn't wait to go to the club. They couldn't wait to get all glammed up. I remember the first night here in the city that I'm in, that the first night that the ban was lifted for quarantine, the clubs were packed. The main streets downtown, you could not get on with a car. You couldn't get on with a car. Now, granted, there were men out there too, but I'm guarantee you that the majority of people that were out there were female. I don't know what it was like in your city when they lift the bans of quarantine, but that's what I experienced here. Though it may be anecdotal, I see so much of it. It's no longer necessarily my opinion. Though I give anecdotal experience on these things, once again, I see them so often. How else can you explain it? The narcissistic personality disorders. That's how I explain it. But anyway, let's continue. It's a pretty decent article. The Sydney model, who has also written a psychological thriller, said she often goes into, quote, rage spirals, unquote, when someone or something offends her. Quote, I am hot-tempered sometimes. I'll burn bridges I don't need to, and I will do really reckless, impulsive things like spend all my money, unquote, she said. She's a very decently beautiful woman, as you can see here. Miss Bartra has also been diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder, which she says means she lacks empathy, guilt, or remorse. Now, the next part of this article shouldn't be a surprise to you guys. Quote, I'm not something I was, it's not, excuse me, quote, it's not something I was born with. It's not something I've ever experienced, but I feel like that doesn't make me a bad person, unquote, she said. Now, I want to add a little bit of side note to that. She says right here, it's not something I was born with. This is very true. So you have to wonder, where do they get these things from? This is the head that is forming, the head that I talk about all the time. It's societal programming. It's telling them that they should be this way. It's influencing them to be this way. Now, granted, yes, they do make the choice to be this way, but nonetheless, it's it's the outcome, right? And she says it doesn't make her a bad person, but I guess it doesn't necessarily make you a bad person to have a disorder, but there are different ways that you can go about choosing to actually do things. You know, I'm glad that she actually is getting help for this, most definitely, because she can become a better person as a result of it. But she has things to rehash. You know, she has things to make amends for in the way that she chose to live her life, you know. But anyways, let's continue on. It says Miss Bartra, who is currently engaged to her boyfriend, Sam, has previously revealed in a YouTube interview that she cheated in 3 relationships because she didn't feel the guilt that typically comes with betrayal. Like I said, this should be no surprise to you guys. I mean, out of everything that I've listed so far, how much of this goes into some of the women that you know, maybe your exes, maybe it's some family members, maybe it's close friends. How many people, female, do you know that behave like this? And I think that should get your answer. You know, once again, she cheated in 3 relationships because she didn't feel the guilt that typically comes with betrayal. That should tell you enough, but let's continue. Quote, I just don't have that sort of regard for that person because it didn't make me feel bad to see somebody else, unquote, she said. Quote, it didn't make me feel guilty. I didn't get home and then not sleep at night because I had betrayed somebody. It's easy for us to switch that part off and compartmentalize, unquote. You hear this? But anyway, let's continue. But after seeing a psychiatrist, Ms. Bartra said she managed to unlearn this behavior and became more self-aware, which has changed how she sees both herself and her fiance. Quote, the main difference is how now I do respect my partner, unquote, she said. I've heard this before, but once again, I applaud her for seeking help. Quote, I do understand that this needs to be met as well as my own. Let me rephrase that. I do understand that his needs need to be met as well as my own, unquote. And that's her again right there. Her again. Like I said, she's a beautiful woman, but she has narcissistic personality disorder. You would never, who would guess that by looking at her, right? This is the reason why we don't go skin deep, because there's something under that skin that could be adding to your life becoming worse than what it was before you met her. But anyways, let's continue. However, Miss Bartra said she still can, quote, be quite vengeful, unquote, and show her, quote, mean streak, unquote, to anyone who hurts her. Although she feels no remorse for her past wrongdoings, Ms. Bartra says she tries to learn from them to avoid making the same mistakes in the future. I see, and that's where I'm kind of like, you don't feel bad about anything that you've done, but you try to use the lessons from those to move forward and to create yourself better. Part of what's missing in her personality is shame. Shame is necessary in order for growth, because shame leads you to accountability, and accountability and responsibility leads you to correcting the things that you should. Shame is a very necessary fundamental emotion that you need in order to grow as a person. This is how you get to humility. You can't have one without the other. You can't have shame and no humility, and you can't have humility but no shame. But humility, we all understand, is something you very much need in order to grow into the best possible person that you can actually be. But here she excludes it. But anyway, let's continue. And when it comes to positive emotions, Ms. Bartra said it's rare that she feels truly happy. Quote, I feel satisfied with life. I feel that I'm doing adequately well, but I don't think I experience happiness in the same way a neurotypical would, unquote, she said. While she likes to be open and upfront with people she dates, Ms. Bartra said that doesn't reveal her personality disorder until Ms. Bartra says she doesn't reveal her personality disorder until she gets to know a potential partner, meaning that you never understand this person until until it's too late. It's too late. There are ways to figure out these signs ahead of time. But anyway, 7 signs that someone is a sociopath. I think that's a very interesting thing to read, but I am not going to go over it because it is nearly irrelevant to someone with narcissistic personality disorder. But anyways, with all the stigma and all the hatred that's shoved down your throat, I like to give myself a chance, unquote, she said. In the early stages of the relationship, Ms. Bartra said she and others with ASPD are prone to, quote, love bombing, unquote, an attempt to influence a person by overt gestures of attention and affection that stems from manipulative behavior. Quote, this is just us getting to know you, unquote, she said. Isn't that interesting? This is just us getting to know you. We were going to manipulate you, and we're going to edge you on and lead you on just to get to know you, right? But anyways, let's continue. Quote, we don't really know how to control ourselves in that sort of way. So all we do is we message you to find out everything about you, and we want to see you all the time. That's just how we kind of get to feel what this relationship would be, unquote. Ms. Bartra said she had a, quote, physically teach. Excuse me, I read that wrong. Ms. Bartra said she had to, quote, physically teach, unquote, herself to blink because her tendency to lock eyes contact unnerved those around her. She said she learned charm and charisma by mirroring actions and emotional responses and has built her persona around the identities of others. This is what we simply call, and what Pimp God brought to my attention, that is from the book Awakening the Master Masculine, is called The Counterfeit Personality. You guys should definitely get that book, and you guys should definitely check out Pimp God when he talks about this. You should definitely listen in, because he gives a broad spectrum that is specific to how women operate in regards to their counterfeit personality. But anyway, let's continue. Quote, I feel like if you strip all of that away, at the core, there would be nothing. It's quite sad, unquote, Ms. Barcher said. And that's the end of the article. I think I probably should go over, we'll go over the sociopath list real quick too, though. Where was that at? There it is. Okay, a sociopath is someone with antisocial personality disorder. And that's the thing. I get that it is related, but these things can be standalone. Usually when you have a sociopath, they have a lot of other things that people with anti-personality disorder don't have, and people with narcissistic personality don't have. I may do a video on those and give y'all a few instances of this, because I've seen it across YouTube a lot. People with narcissistic tendencies, and I can pick them apart. I'm not a psychologist, but I've taken plenty of psychological classes, psychology classes, sociology classes, biology classes. I've taken and I've studied on my own. You know, I can't wait till the DSM-6 comes out. I think that'll be out next year. But I can't wait to read this stuff. You know, I read the DSM-5 about the cluster B personalities a lot. I come back to them all the time. I had an ex that had borderline personality disorder. I was the one who diagnosed her before her actual doctor did, because I lived with her and I was intelligent enough to understand what was going on, and not be encapsulated in that type of illusion, because that's exactly what it is. But anyways, enough about me. Someone with this disorder will manipulate, antagonize, and treat others with indifference. They show no remorse or guilt for their actions and behaviors. Sociopaths are prone to reckless and risky behavior because of what's known as their compromised moral compass, and are often perceived as irresponsible. Number one, lack empathy. They feel no remorse or guilt because they don't feel the emotions of those around them. I've dealt with plenty of women who feel no remorse or guilt for anything that they did. You know what I've been told? It is what it is. I can't change it. You know, no remorse, no guilt. Number two, manipulative. They are opportunists and highly ambitious individuals who rely on lying and manipulation to get where they want. I've dealt with that too. I've had a woman that recently told me that told me a whole bunch of lies just to try to get me in a position that she wanted me in. And the crazy part about it is, anyone who knows me knows that I'm not a fucking idiot. You know what I'm saying? to put it in layman's terms, you know what I'm saying? It's strange to see people that understand what you are, try to still go against that to test you to see where you're going. The constant shit test, that is a part of narcissistic personality disorder in my behavior, in my opinion. Like I said, I'm not a psychologist or anything, but I've read up on this stuff enough that I can give you a good deal about how these things work. But anyways, number three, dangerously charming. They use charisma and charm to attract others, particularly those more vulnerable than themselves. That's called the prey. The prey and the prey and the prey. You know what I mean? It is someone preying on another, the prey and the victim. You know, that's simply what that is. Number four, ill-tempered and impulsive, prone to engage in risky and illegal behaviors. I've met plenty of women like this. You know, 1 minute they'll be going to church, the next minute they'll be stealing your stuff. Like, you know, you got to watch out for these things. Number five, strained relationships. They are likely to be controlling and possessive. That is like 100% of the women out there. No, I'm joking, but you know, that is a large chunk of women. They are likely to be controlling and possessive. Does that not say black culture, matriarch by any chance? That's what it sounds like to me. Sounds like most of our women are have qualities of sociopathic tendencies, I would say. But anyways, 6, narcissistic. Not all narcissists are sociopaths, just like I said. I haven't even read this part before. I just skipped over because I know this stuff. But most sociopaths are narcissistic, which is true. This is the reason why they include this list of sociopathic tendencies into this conversation about narcissistic personality disorder, because they share a lot in common. While one has to be the other, has to be included in the other doesn't have to be included in it for it to be defined as such, just like they're saying here. Number 7, find enjoyment in the suffering of others. Sadistic antisocials use empathy to derive pleasure from the pain of others. Now, they said in the beginning that sociopaths, or at the top, lack of empathy. They feel no remorse or guilt because they don't feel the emotions of those around them. So there's a catch to that. Number 7 is the catch to that. Find the enjoyment in the suffering of others. Sadistic antisocials use empathy to derive pleasure from the pain of others. So they don't necessarily care about anything else in regards to empathetic behavior, because a lot of people think that empathy is the ability to sense the good feelings about someone. No. Empathy, you can also use that to sense when someone is in pain, right? A lot of people, like I said, associate empathy with showing favor to someone's situation, the circumstance, and showing how you understand that in a emotional type of way. But you can also use that in a negative way. For everything positive, there's something negative. You can use that in such a way that you derive pleasure from other people's pain. Now, once again, this stuff sounds crazy, y'all, but really think about it. How many women have you ran across who fit these categories, of the sociopath and the narcissist? They're quick. I've seen plenty of times people throw that word around like it's nothing. Like, bro, that's like, how we can't, define those with mental retardation as we did before. We just can't walk around calling people these names, because these are actual disabilities. They're actual things that people suffer from. Just walking around and calling somebody willy-nilly a narcissist, that's not cool, because these are things that people suffer from, and I'm not saying that the people who are actually narcissistic should get a pass because they're narcissistic. But what I'm saying is that just because you don't agree with someone, just because you think someone is self-absorbed or whatever, you don't get the right to call them that. Because first off, you're not a doctor. You're not a clinician. You're not a psychiatrist. You're not a psychologist. You're not any of these things. And people would say, well, you're not either. But the thing of it is, I'm not speaking it and pointing fingers at an individual to say that this is you, right? I don't call people narcissists. I don't call them, etc., all these things, sociopaths, because I understand what those things mean. You just can't walk around calling people these things. You're an idiot if you do that. And there's nothing wrong with anecdotally saying that I believe this person may be narcissistic because X, Y, and Z. That's different, rather than using it as a lance to spear someone. You get what I'm saying? That's not cool. But anyways, like, comment, and share. Check me out on Facebook. Check me out on Patreon. But until next time, this has been the Wolf in Beta Clothes. May you have a good day. And of course, peace be with you.